Holy frustration. Holy frustration is like when you're sitting at a work desk, maybe in a high-paying job, a role everyone is saying, oh, you're so lucky, but you are feeling this weird nagging itch in your soul, not because the job is bad, but because it feels small, like you're wearing shoes 2 sizes too tight. That's what I call holy frustration. In your 30s and 40s, society expects you to be settled. But God often uses this season for a divine pivot. So in this episode, I'm talking about why you are not ungrateful for wanting more, why AI isn't going to take your calling, and how I went from a safe role to a God-ordained career here in Australia. If you're feeling stagnant, this episode is for you, and take it as a permission slip to move. So there is this myth of one career. Let's look at the facts because I want you to keep in mind that your mind has to be as sharp as your spirit, okay? So did you know that the average person now changes career 5 to 7 times in their lifetime? Because we're not in 1950s anymore. With the advent of AI, technical skills are being automated, but human empathy, discernment, and counsels are becoming the world's most valuable currencies. That's true. So there is a massive shift that happens when we have babies as women. Research shows that motherhood often triggers this value re-evaluation. Suddenly, your 9 to 5 grind doesn't feel tiring. It also feels expensive. It's costing you time with your first ministry, which is your family. I've been there. I had a good job, but my heart was at home. I wanted to nurture my baby. I wanted a soft life that prioritized family. But it felt like I couldn't tell my friends I thought. If I say I'm unhappy, I'll sound ungrateful. So listen to me. Wanting a life that fits your family isn't lazy. It's actually stewardship. If you're loving it, you're loving this vibe, you're loving what I'm saying, please press the subscription button right now because we're going to really talk about this in this season and I don't want you to miss any of this portal. The spirit of stagnation will want to whisper to you whenever you're trying to pivot that it's too late, you're too old, you've invested too much in this degree to start over. And that is a lie from the pit. I'm going to share my own story, okay? It will be our case study. My transition wasn't an overnight boom. It was a 6-year journey of obedience. I went from managing a small business to realizing I was called to something deeper. So I went back to uni to study counseling, all right? Remember the fear, but I held on to Galatians 1:15-7, Paul says, but when God, who set me apart from my mother's womb, called me by his grace, I was pleased to reveal his Son to me, that I might preach him among the Gentiles. My immediate response was not to consult any human being. Paul didn't ask for a consensus. He didn't negotiate his instructions with friends. He ran. When God gives you a blueprint for a new season, stop asking for permission from people who are still comfortable, still being stuck. Like I said earlier in my story, I obeyed God, I went back to uni, and let me tell you about divine acceleration. The moment I finished my master's in counseling, the door to Australia didn't just crack open, it fell off the hinges. I relocated immediately, but the growth didn't stop at the border. Upon arriving here, God revealed to me again that counseling wasn't just a job. It was the foundation for my clarity of purpose coaching. It was a foundation for having a private practice. I went back to uni again. And God has a plan for you for every of your season. Your job isn't to figure out what is your purpose for the next 10 years. Your job is to listen now and obey for the next 10 minutes, right? While Paul didn't consult flesh and blood for validation, the Bible tells us that in the multitude of counselors there is safety. That's in Proverbs 11:14. You need wise counsel to navigate the how. And that's why I do what I do. I provide clarity of purpose coaching to help you distinguish between a good idea and a God instruction. So your next instruction and your next step could look like this. If you're sitting in that holy frustration right now, I want you to know that you deserve the change that God is whispering to you about. If you're healing from the stagnation of the past, I want you to grab my book, Beyond the Hurt. It's a roadmap for moving past the pain of old seasons so you can embrace the new season God is bringing you to. The link is in my show notes and my bio. And if you need safety and strategy to pivot your career or to just clarify if this is what God is asking you to do, I do provide a clarity session. I can work with you so you feel released and empowered and God ordained. I want to hear your pivot stories. So if you've experienced a divine pivot and you want to be a guest on this show for any other topic, let's inspire our tribe together. Do send me an email. I want to hear from you. Your family is your priority. Your peace is your priority. Your call is non-negotiable. So until next episode, stay beautiful, stay confident, and stay prayed up. God bless you.